recording now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 551 of the DrunkNerds. God damn it. I did it really good in the time I fucked up. Then I fucked up the time I finally got working right. God damn it. Anyways, it's the 551st episode of the DrunkNerds podcast. I'm always, I'm Tyler. And joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Man, it's been one crazy week, but I'm certainly fucking glad that I'm having a chance to play Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Let's fucking go,
Oh
man.
man, I know, right? I know. I've been waiting all week, and there was also some various BS or something last night that kept preventing me from playing it on launch day. But at the same time, at the same time, at least I had my chance to play like around an hour or so of it today.
Yeah,
I'm
very cool.
probably gonna play a little bit more of it after we're done recording. All depends on if I'm tired or
Yeah.
not. But no, that work week was kind of pretty busy up until today was my last day before the 2 day weekend and stuff. So we had this dog that actually came into the back of our like donations area like around 10:30 this morning. And what was funny about it is like this dog just literally just popped out of nowhere. I'm just working on stuff. It just gave me a jump scare because it brushed past my leg and stuff. Like, oh, hey, it's a puppy
Mm-hmm.
dog. It's a black lab puppy, and she had like a pink collar around her around her neck and stuff like that. She was well groomed, like well in shape and everything. So we had to entertain the dog for quite a bit. It was like one of those moments where I felt like I was kind of at home because I'm generally doing the same thing with my dog that I have with me, like after work and stuff. And so basically, it was just a it felt like one of those like at times where, well, it's already a slow day because there's a parade going on and stuff. So it's really not going to matter if it had been a full crew of people, say on a regular like weekday or something. Yeah, that would have been chaotic as
Yeah.
hell. But no, long story short, there were some funny moments that happened. Like for one, figuring out that one of my coworkers doesn't know how to take care of a dog. And the dog subsequently being so happy, so excited about anybody he gets into contact with, and they'll proceedingly tried to hump the coworker, where he's like, "No, damn." Oh my god, it was such a funny ass scene. Oh, considering that the coworker in question himself, he has a lot of cats at home,
Mm.
so it really makes lots of sense. But I'm happy to report that we did have one of the local agencies go through and take the dog. They managed to reunite
Good.
the owners with the
Awesome.
dog, which I'm happy with. The thing that I've learned though was last night during like this whole irrigation festival in the town of Swim, Washington. It goes on and stuff. They have this big old fireworks thing like the night before, and sometimes animals just go missing because, well, they get scared
Yep.
off because of the whole like all the fireworks going off. Boss is telling me this happened 1 year, like a couple of years ago, and it did happen this time around. But yeah, yeah, that was pretty much how my week has been. How have you been, Tyler?
Doing all right, Gables. Another week in the books. It was very much a long week. When you just one of those ones where you're just kind of counting down the days to get to Friday, because you want to get the weekend
Mm-hmm.
going. Also, um, Zelda is here, so you just wanted
Mm-hmm.
it to get here. So it was kind of like whenever I'm home, I'm just like all week, I'm just like, man, I don't even want to like feel like I'm just kind of killing time until Zelda gets here. I don't want to start anything. I don't really want to do anything. I just want to kind of, I just want to get the Zelda here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's pretty much, nothing too crazy with me. Just clanging and banging as always. Tomorrow's Mother's Day, so
Yes.
got stuff going on. Figures Nintendo would put out one of the biggest games of all time. Uh, during Mother Day, going into Mother's Day weekend, and also like Friday is our busiest day of the year outside of like Christmas time. So like I didn't even
Yes.
get home until uh, like 9:30 at night. Um, so
Yep.
and then like by the time I started up, it was like 10:30, and I was like I played for like an hour, and I'm just like, all right, I'm just very tired. So I basically just kind of got to like the opening cutscene, and I got to like the beginning area, and then I played some more today. But you know what? God damn it, Gables. Let's just get into it. You know, let's
What?
just get in. Let's just talk about Zelda.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fuck it. You know, this is it's different. Normally we always save what we've been playing for the end, but it's Zelda. We gotta talk about it. Um,
Yes.
one of the cool things though is like you can always you could bitch about Twitter, social media, online, internet, stuff like that. Whatever. Oh, there's a million things to complain about, but 11 o'clock my time, Central Time.
Mm-hmm.
Zelda went live for online people
Yep.
plus midnight sales stuff like that. Just seeing like I woke up in the morning, I was kind of scrolling through Twitter, seeing what happened overnight, just kind of delaying the inevitable of having to go to work, and it was just cool seeing that like thread of people, and it was like because like I've always talked about like my Twitter is like I've over years of like working on it like it's pretty much just what I want to be. It's like just pretty much 99% wrestling, football, basketball, um, Iowa related stuff. Like I got Iowa sports people I follow and video games. That's pretty much all I want, and that's pretty much what it is. But it was so cool to see like this amalgamation of like the sports people that I follow, the wrestling people that I follow, the whatever like people that like I follow that aren't even like the gaming people that I follow, but just all of them, just ecstatic, excited, initial impressions, fun little videos of
Mm-hmm.
like just like little clips of like shit that happened to in the beginning, like just all overnight, just scrolling through it. It's just that little serotonin boost in my mind where I was like, fuck yeah, that's like like it's so cool. Like these moments, like I was thinking of going like even like going into this like this week, where I'm like, man, like these moments aren't that often. Like they only happen every couple of years. Like maybe you get one or two a year. Sometimes you skip a year or
Yes.
two. Like I was thinking like last year we had like God of War and Elden Ring, and it's like no, this is
Mm-hmm.
different. Like those were huge moments for like. I mean, I know these games are bigger than the internet. Like bigger than like we always talk about like NPD stuff like that sales, but like this felt bigger in the sense of like everybody was talking about it. Like everybody
Exactly.
knew about it. Like this is bigger than this is a tier above. The God of War Ragnaroks, the Elden Rings, shit like the Call of like I don't maybe not Call of Duty, but it's up. It's one of the, it's just like an event. And like, it brought me back to like kind of like those days when I
Dude.
was younger, like in the 2000s when like Halo 3 came out, Call of Duty 4 came out, like the when the Wii came out,
Yep. Yes,
like that's
exactly.
how it felt like at least online, and just like kind of like reading the headlines, seeing like just seeing like every video game website just plastered in like Tears of the Kingdom stuff, just seeing everybody going nuts. Like this is like a monumental. Friday was like May the 12th, 2023 is like a monumental day in gaming. Just like I think March 3rd, 2017 was when Breath of the Wild and the Switch came out.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is that.
Yes.
Like this is up there. This is like yeah, this doesn't like yeah, we have days like we have like the games like Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok like I said, but games like this, like these like this is a moment that we're in right now. And it's fucking and it's so cool. It's so much more cool than Breath of the Wild because I mean obviously the Switch coming out Breath of the Wild that was awesome, but like now we're seven we're in year 7 of the Switch, and there's 120 plus million people that have a Switch, so there's way more people playing this
Yep.
thing at launch, and
Yes,
there's
it
the
is.
anticipation, there's a build up coming off of Breath of the Wild, and it's fucking wild. And like yesterday, like today has been so fucking cool, talking to people about it, reading people talking like reading about what's going on, what people like, just seeing little funny clips here and there. Like man, like the last like 48 hours has just been awesome. uh,
Yes, I cannot recollect like the last major a what has felt like a giant event that's happening in the world of gaming and stuff, while simultaneously like everybody is talking about it. Not
yeah.
just everybody's just talking about it and stuff, but you're right though. This definitely has that feel of when there were console launch. There was like maybe game launches, say for the whole 360 like PS3 generation, to where you really are seeing people wait in line for the damn game to release or something like that in the
Mm.
physical stores. I know for a fact I was watching that Nintendo Direct, sort of like that Treehouse Direct, I should say.
Oh
I
yeah.
was watching that Treehouse Direct as was watching Miss Click's stream and stuff, and basically it was just like a couple hours of them leading up to the East Coast launch of the game. And man, let me tell you something. There were so many different type of aspects that they were trying to demonstrate, including they did eventually had to cut off like some aspects of it because they didn't want to show too much of it, like say opening up the chests of what you're gonna get in the chests, or like
Gotcha. Okay.
trying to come up with these crazy these crazy like type of contraptions and stuff. But no, what was hilarious is watching that launch event. It's just not just them talking about it, just seeing the crowd and stuff like that. There was one moment that just had literally had me laughing, and got like a bunch of the chat actually like noticing it too, when I went through and commented like there's this one dude that was dressed up in a Dreamcast logo, like a hoodie and stuff. And you see the people that are representing Nintendo just giving like stuff like to the people in the crowd. You're like, hey, that's and that, and they're adequately avoiding the dude in the Dreamcast black hoodie.
That's awesome.
It was so funny because it probably wasn't intentional by them, but it made it look like that he was the only one that's being ignored throughout this entire thing.
As
It's
he
like,
deserves.
oh my gosh! And there's just all sorts of little posting on the freaking chat. Like, oh, Dreamcast, the guy in the Dreamcast, the hoodie got robbed, and this and that. But yeah, man, just looking and seeing like a line of like about 100 people from like Nintendo's online, like Nintendo's store in New York, stretched all the way across to the streets and stuff like that, and Doug Bowser being present at that whole launch thing and stuff.
Nintendo New York.
Yep.
Yeah.
And literally, the first dude that he went in there and bought his copy of Tears of the Kingdom and stuff, he was dressed in all highly in like apparel and stuff like that. He has cosplay stuff. He had a shield. He had a sword. He bought the collector's version, the collector's edition of the friggin' Tears of the Kingdom. So that giant
Nice.
green box and stuff like that they were
Yeah.
selling. But as far as that goes and stuff, yeah, just seeing little bits of clips that you've shared with me and stuff, and also just feeling all this positive excitement. Like I've seen so many people post like their first impressions of like the first couple hours of the game and stuff like that online. Like all the people that I'm following on YouTube or something, they're trying to put out the first hour or stuff like that, you know, and
Mm.
just it's just everybody. It feels like there is so many people that are coming together and just enjoying something in mass. It's something rare that we don't get
It's like
hardly at
Pokemon
all.
Go launch was like the last time I felt this.
I know I kin this more like how back in the day when there was like a particular TV show that would like air and everybody would
Yeah.
watch it on
The
a
water
specific
cooler
day.
talk.
Or it's like if yeah, exactly. Like any type of movie or TV show were to launch or like in theaters or somewhere everybody had to go forth and watch it because well, that was pretty much how things were. It feels the same way, only it's in the digital age and everybody just
Yeah.
is waiting for this one event to happen. That's and it, you know what though, it definitely does feel like this is so much hyped more so for this launch of Tears of the Kingdom than it has been in certain gaming releases like in the past 5 years, I would say. Not since the original Breath of the Wild, you know, not since then. It just everything else has just got magnified after the review scores and everything else, you know, because after that, I've noticed so many people online that are just going up and like just saying, "Oh man, I can't miss this game. I want to play this game." You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's that mentality. It's so refreshing to see.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's the highest rated game ever on OpenCritic.
it
Fuck
has
you,
the same
Gables.
score as it has the same score as Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah. Um, it is the fifth highest rated game of all time
Mm,
on Metacritic. Um, I can't remember all the games. It's behind like Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64, Tony
mm.
Hawk Pro Skater 2, um, and I can't remember the other one. There's like one other one though.
Oh my
Um,
God, yeah, with Metacritic though.
yeah,
They've been
but I
around for
mean,
so long.
yeah. Well, and they go back and keep track, but it's like we're in a different era now where you
Yeah.
look back at some of those older games in the 90s. A lot of them only have like 15 reviews,
Yes.
16 reviews. Now these games nowadays have hundreds of reviews. So um, it's a lot harder to kind of keep to maintain those numbers. So um, just yeah, it's been awesome to kind of just see this and see everybody talking about it. It's been a great time, and but let's get so far what we've done. I think I'm probably 6 hours in, give or take.
Okay.
Um, Gables, you said you play about an hour.
I have played about an hour, but I am going to say maybe one thing of spoiler of note. So anybody that is listening to this that doesn't want any type of spoilers for at least for the first hour or so of the
Yeah,
game,
yeah,
I mean, hell, that's up to you if you wanted to skip forward a bit.
yeah. We have
But
time codes in the chat, so or in the notes down below. So maybe or just
right,
skip ahead like 2 minutes. But if you
yeah,
want to skip this, come back later. Understand?
but yeah, where I'm at right now is I'm in the opening area. I've got. Let me just say this though: the opening of Tears of the Kingdom,
Oh.
it is so perfect. It
Mm-hmm.
feels perfect the way it's cinematically done, the way the voice acting from both like Zelda and also by Ganondorf, and even like even bits and stuff from like Rauru and stuff like that. This feels professional. It feels spot on in terms of the presentation, in terms of how they enunciate their emotion, in terms of their scenes and stuff and their roles. I thought it was really cool that just first thing and stuff, they just going through a lot of the story stuff, just then and there and stuff, like the Zonai being this whole like race that descended from the skies and stuff, and it's like that part of the reason why that the kingdom of Hyrule is formed to begin with, because the Hylians were born from the union of like two gods and stuff.
Yeah.
But what was really interesting about all that stuff is like the implementation of like not only like does Ganondorf get resurrected because the power combined, like constricting him and stuff, finally fades by the time that both Link and Zelda get to that bottom corridor and stuff. And if you've actually like went through a bunch of the texts and stuff like that for talking with Zelda back and forth while you're going through each particular portions, you get a little bit of like subtle things, like say how the King of Hyrule did not want anybody in the royal family to go underneath like the castle and
Mm,
stuff and explore these tombs, or like there's all this foreboding things. And until when you get closer, it's just the music just starts getting more intense. You see the flames and stuff like that starting to get more like bright and stuff, and much more kind of sinister. And then all of a sudden you get to that freaking room and stuff where the spell's broken and stuff, and like Ganondorf is resurrected, and it's like you see Link literally lose his freaking arm and stuff.
yeah.
They didn't have to chop it off or anything. He basically lost all function of his right arm and stuff, which
Yeah.
was holy shit, that is pretty damn dark.
Shatter the Master Sword.
Shatter the Master Sword. They call it the Decayed Master Sword.
Yeah.
So obviously you got to go ahead and collect a whole bunch of the parts from that, but yeah, focusing on the gameplay portion of it, I've gone through one of the three initial temples so far. The one I went through started with an H, but that one allowed you to get like the power of like Ultra Hand.
Yep.
So I went through that, got one of those like essence sort of like things at the end of it, like light essences or something like that at the end of the temple. But what I'm liking already though is the flexibility of what you can go forth and like not just create, but how you have all these pieces that are laid out and stuff, and it's up to you to figure out how you're going to go through and solve like a particular puzzle. Like, for example, in that particular temple I went through, there's like a slab of like boards, right? And like all I have to do is look around. It's like, okay, how am I get down this bar all the way down over there? It's like, okay, you have this platform, and then you have these two hooks and stuff that you can like get off of like the wall, pick them on there, use your Ultra Hand ability to go onto there, and then you can just ride all the way down.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you, it doesn't tell you directly. You pretty much figure it out from observing things. Which, you know what? I like it that way. I kind of like it that way so far, to where, yeah, you have all the pieces. You have all the pieces, but you have to go forth and try to solve these particular issues themselves. Though it was kind of hilarious the first time I came across the two boards and stuff that I had to fuse together and try to go across the thing. I accidentally like made them a little bit too wonky and stuff because I wasn't too oriented and
Yeah.
stuff. And all of a sudden, I had the boards that are like this. They're like the
Yep. I did the
timeout
same
motion just
thing.
went all the way down to the thing.
Yeah.
Like, God dang it! Then I fall down. It's like, is there a ladder? Damn, there's probably not a ladder. I need to get up this way. And then I find the ladder. I get up. I finally fix the boards from like wiggling the R stick in order to like freaking just disassemble them and stuff and redo it again and do that way. But yeah, exploring around that Sky Island so far has been really interesting. I love a lot of the scenery. I love that you go forth and encounter a bunch of these like mechanical like beings and stuff that were kind of created by the Zonai, and like there's some soldier ones that you can get these charges from when you defeat them. The aspect to where you could use like let's say you are trying to beat them with stealth or something. I've had a hard time trying to beat them with stealth because they have these laser sights and stuff that can recognize
Yeah.
you almost immediately.
Fucking assholes.
Yeah, but what is fun is like just throwing random stuff at them. Like throwing a stick in their eye or something like that,
Yeah.
and just go chuck things. Another fun mistake I made is like I created this platform, right? And I thought, okay, I'm just gonna drop it over here, like between these two sky islands and stuff, so that way I can go and cross it. And because of the distance of it, the platform fell all the way
Yeah.
down and stuff. I'm like, oh no. Well, I'm finding another way.
Yeah.
That's when I found another. That's when I found another pair of hooks and some logs and connected together and just used a raft all the way down to another portion of it. And that's just been a lot of my experience so far. The combat's fine. I mean, it's the same quintessentially as Breath of the Wild. There are some key differences that you can go forth and do, say with Ultra Hand and stuff. I'm definitely loving the creativity and the random bits of craziness that people are experimenting with online. Oh Jesus Christ! Like just with bombs, with flamethrowers, or friggin' doing all this other crazy crap. I can't wait till I get to the ability where I can just reflect a lot of the like just stop and then just rewind
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
like the motions and stuff.
Rewind. Yeah.
That's gonna be fun just to mess around enemies with that. But yeah, I'm just around an hour past, and my first impressions of it is I'm liking it a lot so far. Loved love how the story has me pretty much engrossed and to try to finding out what's next. Love the fact that exploration doesn't feel tedious. It's obviously familiar because it is the original Breath of the Wild, but there is so much more that's added on top of it that it feels like a completely different game. That's my experience, really.
Cool,
What
man.
about you, Tyler?
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm about 6 hours in, give or take. Um, I think I probably spent a good 4 hours on the initial Sky Island area.
Mm.
You could definitely get through it faster, but I was just kind of dicking around a lot and exploring, seeing treasure chests, going, ooh, what's that over there, going over there. It's kind of getting lost in the area, and I just like seeing like what I can do with like the abilities as you get them. It's kind of like the same thing with the it was like Rudo Valley, I think, in the original game where like
Yeah,
you couldn't like you did the four shrines and you get the initial four abilities before you go onto the main world. It's kind of the same idea up
yeah,
there. Uh, yeah, I had a lot of fun going around up there, and um, like my favorite thing has been like combining the items with the bow and arrow. Just the fact like also like you just arrows are like everywhere now. Like in the first game, like arrows were like toilet paper in the Armageddon. They were it was priceless items. You could never get them. Um,
I'm
but
still kind of having issues trying to combine different like weapons together and stuff.
well, you haven't got fuse yet. Once you get fuse,
Oh, I
but
see.
this isn't even part of fuse. This is just like this is like entirely different. But um, yeah, like so like one of the things I got to, I found like the Zonai, two Zonais fighting the choo choo jellies, and
Yeah.
they were fighting each other. And so I pulled out my bow and arrow. I was like, I'm gonna sneak up and get a couple shots in. So I get my bow and arrow. I attach. It's like I can't remember what it's called. It's like a fire heart or something like that, and it
Hmm.
basically makes a flame arrow. And I shot, but they were fighting in grass,
Oh.
and I missed, and it lit all the grass on fire. It launched the choo choo jellies into the sky, and they landed on the Zonais, killed the choo choo jellies, and killed the Zonais in one fell swoop. It was awesome.
Just,
uh,
dude, just the fact that you could do that inside that game and get that type of result, that's what makes this game much more fun to experiment with.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
There's
this game's all.
secrets everywhere.
Yeah, like the game is fantastic, but also like the best parts of this game is just like those moments that you have.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, it's been like it's just like, yeah, like the contraptions, building the contraptions, like it's always fun. Like simultaneously, this game will make you feel like the biggest idiot in the world, but and also like a genius. Like 5 minutes later, like the way you build shit, it's like what the fuck, like what? And then like you finally figure out like, oh my fucking god, that's all I had to do. Or like you like figure out like you do this like, oh, I'm so fucking like I'm so fucking smart. I did this, but then as you go and like I probably did that like the way more the hardest way possible to do this. There's probably like a million easier ways to do this than the way I just did this. Um, yeah, like I it was like at one point like I got into like a mine cart and I attached like um three like fans to it and I got going and then like I was like, oh fuck yeah, I was like flying, but like I didn't even bother to check the tracks and it just like stops at a certain point. So I used all this resources. I built this whole fucking thing and it ended up just like shooting me off and like going flying off the tracks to my death, like just falling to my death. Uh, like you find the little glider things you can like I put a fan on it, um, and like so I got going. I was floating in the air, and I didn't. I just like nose dived into the ground. I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I nose diving? And then only to learn that like when you're on the glider, where you stand on the glider, like that's how you steer it.
Hmm.
So I was standing on the end, not really as I
Oh
was doing
no.
a nosedive into the ground. I was like, what the fuck? So just dumb shit like that. Yeah, like I said, like I'm just having like a great fucking time. I love that opening area. The story so far is like my I've talked about, I made it a running joke really that Breath of the Wild is my seventh favorite game of 2017, and I'm not joking about that. It was. My biggest issue was with it was like that game was all about finding your own fun, like
Hmm.
and like the parts like like I didn't in the story stuff of it I didn't care for, like finding the memories, like I like those, but it was like some of the best moments of this game is like you have to go look for, and it's not super fun and they're very small. I didn't really care for the divine beast stuff. It was probably the worst parts of the game. I love the ending, like the final, like getting to the castle, like all that shit was awesome. And so for this one, like I feel like they did a better job of like balancing the stuff like people like me that didn't like I'm not a huge, I did not at all like the degradation, weapons breaking. Like I didn't like it. I'm not like throwing a fit about it, but I didn't like it. I will say the most annoying thing about Zelda right now isn't the people complaining about weapon degradation. It's people complaining about the fact that people didn't like weapon degradation. Those people are more annoying than people like me.
Oh.
Um, but like I didn't like that stuff. Like I thought it was kind of frustrating. Like so like when I played Breath of the Wild, like I went in, I knew how to get what I had to do to get the Master Sword. I kind of just feel like I mainlined it to get to the Master Sword, but then I started fucking around with the open world because like I don't want to deal with that. I just want the sword, the Master Sword and stuff like that. But anyways, in this game like that's not an option. So but like the abilities that they give you, like the fuse option, like you could fuse like fucking I fuse like the flame emitter that shoots flames out
Hmm.
to like my sword. So every time I swing my sword, it shoots out flames. Or you can uh attach like certain items to your swords or your weapons to make them stronger. So like it actually makes like combat and going out fighting, doing stuff like that actually like really matter because like really in the first game you didn't really ever have to do the combat at all. Like if you just wanted to just do the divine beasts and the shrines, and then do the final battle, like that's really all. Like outside of that stuff, you really didn't have to do any combat. Like and that's kind of what I did. I always feel like in Breath of the Wild, like I just kind of really avoided that stuff because there was no purpose to it at all. And
Hmm.
now like you need like now resources matter in this game because you need those to like I said, attach. You can make your weapon stronger. You can fuse those to make your weapon like you can up your uh, how much damage they do, or you can like add stuff to it to make them like so they don't break as fast, stuff like that. So like definitely like I'm going on my way to like fight these enemies also, because the combat is good. Like I'm still struggling. Like the every button in this on the controller does something. I know that's
Mm-hmm.
stupid to say, but in this game, it's like it really like it really is, and like sometimes they do more than one thing. Uh, so like I sometimes it gets a little when it gets hectic. I'll just like start spamming buttons, and like I that's my one like real frustration. I think is like having the jump button being X, B being the run. Like you can actually swap them, which like in the first game you couldn't do that, but there's still no button mapping. And it's like, come on, like at least let me like swap the face buttons a little bit. But that's my real one complaint is like I still constantly keep hitting the wrong button all the time. Like when I go to block, I end up hitting the weapon the ability wheel instead of the block, and that's fucking me up. But yeah, like I said, I'm having a blast with this. And like I said, like the abilities are making it so that like all my frustrations with that first game, like the climbing would be frustrating when like you get up, you get so close to the top, you run out of stamina, and you fall all the way down, or then it starts raining, and then like you fucking fall and like, well, now I'm just kind of fucked because I can't climb because the only way to get up there is by climbing, and I can't climb because it's raining. And they give you ascend, so you can just shoot through things and go up to the top, and it literally just works on everything. Like it's incredible. Like I cannot believe how well some of the shit works. Um, yeah, like I said, I'm having just a fucking blast. Roaming like I got down to the surface area and like just I've been roaming around. I've done like spoiler alert, there are shrines in the open
Mm-hmm.
area. I don't know how many. It's kind of the same idea from the first game. Like you have to get 4 to you defeat you finish 4, you get the little orbs. You go and you can add stamina or heart container. Um, I think I said 4 or 5. Gables,
Mm.
cool little thing for you in the first game. I remember when I told you this when I beat the first game. You laughed at me hysterically when I said I only got 11 Korok seeds in the first game.
Yeah.
Gables, I've got
What?
10 already in Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, good. Yay.
I love that too. So in Tears of the Kingdom, um, I love like so some of them, some of the Korok ones, you find them and you can get 2 Korok seeds at a time because they get separated from each other. Like there's one
Oh,
the
yeah.
2 Koroks get separated. So then it's like you got to figure out how to get that guy over there. So I found one Korok that was like laying. He's like, I'm so tired. So I'm like, all right, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's like a little glider thing over there. I walk over, or the little like the thing you like somebody float on where I nosedive by accident. And for the first time, I found a rocket. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll shoot him. I'll just attach him to the rocket and I'll shoot him over there.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work at all. He just went fucking flying. I don't know where he went for a long time. I had to go find him. Luckily I found him. He's okay. The little bastard's okay. He landed near enough over there that he was okay. So having good times with that. Like this, but it was like it's so stupid because like I can easily just like, um, you can just use Ultra Hand to like carry him, and
Yeah.
just I could just walked him. Like probably spent like 50 seconds just walking him there. But like, I could just instead I'll just shoot him over this body of water, and yeah, that was really stupid. But yeah, just like just dumb stuff like getting in fights with I've been like going out and actually like finding like the big enemies in the game. Like in the first game, I didn't even defeat a single one because as soon as I saw him, I just run off because I'm like, why am I wasting resources on this guy? Um, yeah, like it's just like I love the fact that like it's still they built upon the first game. And you get like yeah, it's still the map from the original game, but like they've done so
Right.
much different to it. Um, but like it's making you rethink the way you played that first game because like you don't have any of the old abilities; those are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just yeah, like it's not like oh, there's some water here. I could just build a frozen block to then get over, to cross it. Like no, you can't do that. Like you gotta like, yeah, like I said, you gotta build a raft or they gotta deal with the wind. Like man, like I am blown away by what you can do in this game so far. And like I said, I am like 6 hours in. Um, I do like I said, I like the fact like a lot of story stuff at least focused like early on. So like that's like I'm not I definitely like a story in my game. So like I want to like that is a good motivating factor for me. And I haven't even got to the part where you get the glider yet. Like I've just
Wow.
like I haven't done any like I haven't climbed any of the things like the where you can like it like opens up the map and shows you everything on the map
All the
for you. I haven't
towers.
done the towers. Thank you. Yeah, I haven't done any of that. Like I've just I've done like one of the main missions you do on the when you first get to the surface, and
Yes.
I've just been wandering.
Oh
Um,
wow.
it's so easy to get lost and just like like oh cool, I'm gonna go off and do this, and it's just like 45 minutes later, and it's like I am in the complete. I just went the complete opposite direction of where I meant to go. So yeah, this is a yeah no, it's definitely this is like I'm finally really feeling the effects of like what people felt for Breath of the Wild. They're like I felt it, but nowhere near to like I would say like 10th of the percent that everybody else felt. So this is hooking me. Like I'm already like I said, I'm already enjoying exploring the world more. I'm enjoying, I'm loving the story so much more than the first game already. Um, yeah, like this game is brilliant. So
Mm.
yeah, two big thumbs up so far. But yeah, I can't wait for Gables you to play more of it, me to play
Mm.
more of it, and
Mm.
yeah, I think this is gonna be a game that there's not really anything coming out for the next few weeks.
Oh no.
For I know Gables, you got I was about to say Street Rage, Street Fighters, and
Street
like
Fighter 6.
yeah, was it June 6th or something?
Yeah.
Uh,
Then later on
yeah,
that month, Final Fantasy 16.
yeah, like I don't really have like Final Fantasy 16 is like the next big game that I'm looking forward to. Like there's a game Planet of Lana coming to Game Pass in at the end of May, and WrestleQuest is still supposed to come sometime in May, but like those are smaller games that I'll get to when I get to. But yeah, like this game is definitely feels like it's going to be taking over my free time for the
Mm-hmm.
foreseeable future. But Gables,
Yeah.
let's jump into some news here. We're going to stick with Nintendo here. Um, we got some Nintendo sales figures, Gables. Pretty
Yes, we do.
exciting here. So we actually got the end of the fiscal year. So all this stuff is as of March 31st of this year. So end of the fiscal year, we got some sales updates. Um, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet at 22.1 million units sold.
Wow.
Kind of actually like not didn't sell way more. I don't know what the official jump is, but like I think it sold like 20 million at the end of last year.
Right.
So at the, January, going into 2023. So still sold a couple million, which is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like it's still gonna be probably it's still eventually gonna be the best selling game of all Pokemon game ever, but does not have the long not exploding out like we initially would have thought. But
And
probably
we wonder why.
yeah, gee, I wonder what could have done that. But still, like it's still 22 million copies.
That's
It
true.
sold 20 million copies like in 6 weeks. They I assure you they did not learn any lessons on this game. Um, Next up here though, Splatoon 3 at 10.67 million units sold. I'd
Good.
like to see. I wish we can get a breakdown because like this game, like I think like initially like 80% of like the copies sold were in Japan, like like when it first initially launched.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see like where they're sold at by like Europe, US, like or like North America and
Yeah, that'd be
Japan
fascinating to
because
see.
yeah, like we know Japan's overwhelmingly like where this is sold, but like
Oh yeah, they love Splatoon over in Japan.
oh yeah, it's huge over there. Did you see though in the Splatfest that my boy Ganon won
Yeah, Ganon
for
actually ended up winning
yeah
because there's this one character that people generally vote for. It's one of the squid. It was like one of the squids, like
Big Man.
no, not Big Man. They don't vote for Big Man. They vote for like the character with blue hair.
Oh okay, I always follow Big Man wherever he goes. So I didn't even realize what he picked. I played like 3 games online, so I'll take credit for the win. Uh, some more stuff here though. Switch Sports at 9.6 million units. It's one of those games that kind of came out. Everybody was like, yeah, it's fine, but I mean, this is kind of like the story of the Switch for these games. They're like, it's fine, and I think like the what's the Switch fuck the Fit game,
Oh, Ring
Ring
Fit.
Fit Adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's now over 16 million units sold. Um,
Wow, good for them.
yeah, which I mean we gotta remember though that game was like it came out and like it wasn't even charting, and then it came out like 6 months before COVID hit, and
Yeah.
that game exploded.
Yeah.
So it definitely as of a lot a lot of things in gaming right now has that COVID boost, but maybe that game more than outside of like Animal Crossing, I don't know if a game had a COVID boost more than that game. So um, more myself, I got MK8 sitting here, so it's Mario Kart 8. I also said Mortal Kombat 8. Uh, Now at 53.79 million units sold. So doing
Dang.
really well, really well. I think it's sold like over 8 million units in the last fiscal year. So um, we do have to remember though, Gables. Now that I
Mhm.
learned this, it bothers me that that includes being a pack-in with the Switch.
Yeah, it
So even
does.
though it's they give it away for free, they still count it as a sale. Um, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, 6.46 million units, Gables.
Yeah, that's big. That's huge for a Kirby game.
Yeah, by far, it's almost doubled the second best selling Kirby game ever, which is the original one on Game Boy. So yeah, like I mean, blowing it away. Uh, Kirby Dream Land Deluxe, the one that just came out, I believe.
Hmm.
When that go? That was in March sometime. I can't
Yeah, that
remember.
was.
So only a few weeks on the charts here. 1.46 million units sold. So
That's still
I mean,
good.
yeah, WePort still selling really well. This one's kind of interesting here. Like Fire Emblem Engage, 1.16 million units sold. I couldn't find like up to date numbers on the last Fire Emblem Three Houses, but um,
Yeah.
kind of what I did find it's not tracking to that level. So I don't know. Like
Mm.
this one, but Fire Emblem like Engage, even reviews were not like they weren't bad, but they were not to the level of what we expected from a Fire Emblem game. So
Right, right. Yeah, the initial reviews for like Fire Emblem Engage and stuff. Yeah, they were like in the 80s. They were in like the
I
early
think it was like low
80s.
80s. Yeah.
It was in
So
the low 80s in that regards, but from what the reviewers going through, and then what a lot of the big like a lot of the fans of Fire Emblem fans have been saying about that stuff is like it is still like a good game and stuff, and
yeah,
the DLC for that thing really does help out the main product of the initial game itself. That's from what I've been hearing. But at the same point and stuff, there's a lot of people that are enjoying Fire Emblem Engage.
yeah. No, it's like it's a good game, but it just doesn't seem like. I mean, Three Houses came. I mean, obviously like the DS ones were huge, but like Three Houses like I felt like the biggest one ever, and that legitimately was a lot of people's game of the year, and it's like that game kind of came out. I mean, it came out in January, so there wasn't really anything around it, and but it just even still, it just didn't really have like it wasn't. It just kind of felt like it came out and we kind of just forgot about it. But I mean, it also has been a pretty crazy year in gaming, but still, like,
Yeah, it's been
so
huge.
yeah, so it still surprised me though. But Gable, this one's pretty big here. Metroid Prime Remaster at 1.09 million units sold. So that came out mid-February. So um, selling pretty well for like we gotta remember like this. Metro games don't typically sell well. I think what was it? Metroid Dread like passed was became the best selling Metro game ever,
Mm.
and it was like in the 3 million units sold. I could not find any like once again I couldn't find any updated sales, but
No, they
um,
just left it at 2.9 million. That's about it.
yeah, and it's in the 3 million areas like last that we know, but yeah we don't know like and there's no updated stuff. But I mean for a $40 remaster that was shadow dropped, that had the physical copies come out like 2 weeks later. Um,
And it's
that's pretty.
already a million seller.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Yeah, in just like 6 weeks out. So
But a
yeah,
credit to
I'm gonna.
that game, I mean, and the credit to that game, and also the improvements that Retro Game Studios made for it. They left in tank controls right, but they allowed you the option to do the twin sticks. There's a lot
Mhm.
of things that were fleshed out and stuff, and it really felt like a remaster. Not like a remaster, but almost like an entire.
Full
It
remake.
it
Yeah,
felt like a remake in all their different parts and stuff. But at the same point, it's like that game was quality all the way
yeah,
through. And that's exactly what you want with a game from that generation because that was rated as one of the highest GameCube games when it was released in that generation. It was one of the highest reviewed games of that generation. And for good reason because there was a lot of good stuff inside the Metroid Prime. However, yeah, it being re-released. like its remastered form this year just caught a lot of people off guard in regards to when it was announced. Even more so when it was stealth dropped.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But the funniest thing is with people, including myself, that bought the game in physical and you could not redeem like any of the game like points of it because it literally would say this game has not released yet.
Oh wow. That same thing happened with Advance Wars. People that bought it physically
Hmm.
because the game like physical copies were made before the game was delayed over a year,
Oh
and
yeah.
the card points are only good for a year, so they had to go back and fix that in a patch. So
Yep.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. Um, some other things here, Bayonetta Origins, Cerveza, I can't remember what it's called.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Cerveza, yeah, did not pass 1 million. There was no update on sales, but we know that for a fact. That just came out like I think like early March into February, but um, still, I mean, I think the game kind of came out. It did not blow, I
Well, we weren't expecting it to really like. Honestly, there were plenty of people didn't really expect this game to go and like maybe reach 1 million in that regards. At the price point as it was for the
full
game that
price.
it
Yeah,
is, yeah, full price $60 and stuff. Not a lot of people were going to go forth and bite on that, but there were plenty that did, and a plenty that enjoyed the hell out of that game.
yeah. Bayonetta 3 though is only I can't find the official numbers, but I know it's like in the 2 million area. So,
Right.
um, not exact. I mean, like probably a success for what it is, but not. I don't think what we were expecting. Something like Astral Chain is already like another platinum game that's also Switch exclusive. Um, is like still has outsold it still. Um, so I'm wondering if maybe Bayonetta is not as big as we thought it was. Uh, because I mean that was a game that was dead after one. Bayonetta 2 was huge, but it was on the Wii U. I know
Hmm.
it got ported later, but
Right.
um, yeah. So I wonder if maybe this might be the end of Bayonetta, or maybe they get one more shot and we'll go from there. But and a lot of people were. I mean, even the hardcore Bayonetta fans, kind of felt lukewarm by the end of that game, including me. So, um, Mario Strikers is at 2.54 million, and Xenoblade 3 Chronicles is at 1.86 million. So those doing pretty well. Some other stuff here, some cool little fun facts for you. 35 different titles sold over 1 million copies for the Switch this last fiscal year. Pretty pretty incredible. And Gables, I have the top 10 best-selling games for the Switch so far
Okay.
overall. So Ring Fit Adventures, I was wrong. I said 16 million. It's actually at 15.38 million. That's number 10.
Mm.
Not too far ahead of it though. Super Mario Brothers Deluxe. So that's the Wii U
Oh yeah.
port, the launch game,
Oh
at
yeah.
15
That's a fun
point.
one.
Yeah, so at 15.41 million. So only 0.03 million ahead of it. But a good little jump here. Super Mario Party, 19.14 million.
Mm.
That's the yeah, that was the first one. I was there's the other one. I can't remember what was the
The
other
other
one
one
called?
has the
The
64 ones,
yeah, what was it
mini
called
games.
though?
Oh my god. There's like Mario. There was like just like Mario Party, then Super Mario Party.
I don't remember.
I
But
don't know.
that one's actually selling really well too, but it's I think it's in like the 8 million area. Oh, Luigi Mansion 3, Gables,
Mm.
13 million units sold.
Yay.
So that's awesome. One of the best games of
Yeah,
2019.
man. Next Level Games making such a great game with that.
Yeah. So 10, 9, 8, 7. So number 7 here, we have Pokemon Scarlet and Violet already, like we talked about, 22.1 million. Um, Super Mario Odyssey passed the 25 million mark,
Hmm.
25.76 million, and will probably pass Pokemon Sword and Shield, which is currently the best-selling Pokemon games ever, at 25.82 million. So
Mm-hmm.
only half a million, not even half, no, zero point zero 0.06 million unit difference there. It's only like a 6,000 point difference there. Um, at 29.81 million, so a good chance Gables will pass the 30 million club by
Wow.
the time we talk about this in a few months. Breath of the Wild, so it is at number 4 overall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then we have number 3, just passing the 30 million mark. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, 31.09 million. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so Animal Crossing New Horizon, number 2, no shocking there. For 42.21 million, and Mario Kart 8, like we talked about,
Mm-hmm.
53.79 million units sold. So
Wow, dude.
pretty incredible numbers here. A couple other things here. Kind of maybe the biggest talking points actually out of all of this is the fact that hardware was down 22% year over year, but still with 17.97 million units sold.
Yep.
Software was also down 9 million units, or 9 million, 9%. Um, so currently now we are at 125.62 million units sold, still 30 million units behind the PS2 for best selling ever. Still stuck at third. Um, yeah,
Hmm.
so it's also the second console to ever pass a billion software games sold. So only PS2 is the only one ahead of that. So
That's so
yeah,
crazy. That's so crazy, man. It's like it's 30 million away from the PS2 in terms of like console sales.
yeah. Um, they did it. They did say that they expect to sell 15 million consoles this fiscal year.
Mm.
Um, but they did. They did admit that that's a pretty lofty goal. But they did say they have. They feel like they have a. I can't remember the exact phrasing, but they have a strong holiday software will help boost that. So who knows what that is? Because we literally don't know anything outside of
We don't
Pikmin
know.
4
Yeah, we don't know anything
and
past
Pokemon
July with
DLC.
Nintendo.
Yeah, so maybe I mean, it sounds like they made a ton of those Zelda OLED switches, so maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but yeah, and then also they did say that there will be no new hardware this fiscal year.
Mm.
So
Mm.
anything so before March 31st of next year, there will be no hardware. Now, I always talk about this with Nintendo. What do they do constantly, Gables?
Lie.
Yes, they lie all the time. They have lied. They lied the year that when they said there's be no new Switch hardware at all. The same time that they the same year they put out the Switch Lite, did
Yep.
the exact same thing with the OLED. They
Yep.
literally did the same thing with the 3DS, where they said
Yes.
there was no new hardware for the 3DS, while people were at a preview event for the new 3DS.
Yep.
So like they
They have a
lie.
track record with this.
Yeah. Now I will say though, I do believe that them when they talk about like them when if they're talking about Switch 2 stuff here, like I think, but who knows? I think though if they were gonna do that, they won't hit 15 million units sold. Like people would be buying this thing. That I mean, we can't use the Wii U to Switch era as a comparison because I mean the Wii they gave up on the Wii U 2 years before the Switch came out in
Yep.
2015. So they were talking about that at at their at these things with talking about the quarterly sales and everything. They're talking about the NX and all that. Like, but the Wii U was dead and everybody knew it. Like, this is different. People are still buying this thing. These things are still selling super well. So I do believe that if they're going to talk about this, they're going to announce one. They're probably going to wait until after the holidays to do it. That's kind of my belief that I could see them like announcing it, you know, maybe in like this spring, early next year, and then launching it at the end of the year.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
That's
Gables,
definitely a
kind
possibility.
of, what are you thinking?
Oh, in terms of their when they'll release their new
At
hardware,
least talk about it. Do you think they'll talk about it this year?
I do believe that they will talk about it this year. I don't believe
Okay.
that they're going to release it this year. I mean, come
No.
on.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, this is something that will probably release around the same time that the original Switch released.
Well, they did
I
say. Well, that was early March, and we know for they're saying they won't have anything until at April 1st at the earliest.
so it could be a potential thing where we probably wouldn't see anything like console related maybe until April potentially of
Yeah.
next year. But at the same time, Nintendo does consistently lie, and even if they are saying that, hey, they're not going to show something at a specific event or something like that, I mean, you gotta really hold things with a grain of salt. Not just with Nintendo, but just with gaming announcements from companies in general, because they got to go forth and say what they have to or not say so that way they could spew as many console sales or game sales as possible. So
Yeah.
with Nintendo, why would you go forth and say, "Oh yeah, the Switch 2 is going to be releasing like later on this year and stuff," while you're releasing some of the strongest software that you have currently for the Nintendo Switch over this next year, and on top of that, diminish a lot of your console sales, cannibalize them at the
Yeah.
point without needing to because it's still selling well. Maybe not as much of a standard that Nintendo wants it to right at this moment in time. It's probably, it's definitely a bit lower in regards to what they potentially may have foreseen it, but 17 million in regards
Well,
to
yeah.
like a console sales or something for this past year so far. I mean, that's still crazy
That's
big.
awesome.
That's still
Yeah.
crazy big, especially for a system that's in its seventh year. So even with that, even though I do admit, yeah, they could potentially go forth and announce something later on this year, it's definitely not going to be any time like past. Well, I would say probably not any time past like. Oh my gosh. Well, they're just not going to say anything really until probably like December or something. That's what I would think. Maybe November or December. But
I
it's
don't
going to
even.
be
Well,
after all these major releases for the fall.
I mean, if we don't hear about it going into like September, October, I don't think we hear about till next year because talking about it in November, December would be the worst time because that's right when everybody's making Christmas purchases. And it's like, well, why would I want to buy this for Christmas when
True.
they've already announced a new thing? So yeah, that's why I think like I said, cannibalizing, this console, putting it out, and then talking about it before um, January, December 26th, I think would just be a bad idea if you're not going to have a new one out for this current holiday, which I don't think they will.
Nah.
Um, so I mean, I felt this way the last few years, Gables, and I still feel this way.
Yes.
They're 30 million units behind the PS2. I don't think it's going to pass it.
Honestly, I feel like they could pass it, but it has to be something that Nintendo's willing to do, which they've already went out and said they're not going to do anytime soon, and that is a price cut.
Yeah, they just meant there will be no price cut. So, um, yeah, you're right. I mean, they've done more price increases than they've done price cuts on
Mm-hmm.
the Switch. So, yeah, I mean, we're talking about the 30 million units behind. They're predicting 15 million units, which would be half of that. And even they're saying that's a lofty goal. Like, obviously, there's ways to like. I mean, obviously, like they're still going to be selling this thing after the next console comes out,
Oh yeah,
but it's
absolutely.
going to be it's going to be a very small amount probably, unless they just do drastic price cuts to just try to like artificially get themselves over that finish line. Um, which still, I mean, like no knock against them, they do it. But yeah, I don't feel like I think it'll be close. Like I wouldn't be shocked if it hits like 150. But I think it's going to end in the low 150 area eventually. But and that's assuming we get if we get that new Switch console next year sometime. But we'll have to. I mean, plus when they announce it. So, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But Gables,
Mm-hmm.
some other cool news here. This is some non. Let's get out of Nintendo here for a minute. Um, looks like the PlayStation Showcase. Jeff Grubb updated his Game Mess calendar. So we've known that they're planning on doing one sometime in May or June, like
Mm-hmm.
before Summer Game Fest. He's putting it down at the end of May. My guess would be May 25th for that because that would be they always do these things on Thursdays. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so at least showcases have always been on a Thursday. In most state of plays are on a Thursday. Sometimes they're on Tuesdays, but typically they're on Thursdays. So that would be my guess is May 25th.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the stuff that we're hearing about being there, Gables. Metal Gear Solid 3 remake.
Hmm. Yes, that has been tossed around. And
Yeah.
quite honestly, even with the teasing around of potential showing of a MGS3 remake, or even more tantalizing from my point of view, is anything mentioning Castlevania.
Yep.
That's something that it really hits deep as a nostalgic gamer that I am. But just hearing those names, those franchises that haven't really been delved into for a long time now, since Konami simultaneously slid out of doing making video games as a consistency of their norm, and now them coming back and outsourcing a lot of their franchises to other studios and stuff to create games for them. Hmm. I would definitely agree. Sony definitely is a partner in terms of like the summer showcase and stuff like that, and yet they have some went on record and saying that they want to, or no, they haven't. It's pretty much what Jeff Grubb was pretty much thinking that they may do one late May, early June, potentially before Summer's Games Fest.
Mm.
But dude, it just seems like really pie in the sky things right at the moment, because we always get these type of big rumors that are leading up to this time of the year, leading into
Oh yeah.
June and doing this and doing that. Plus, we've been hearing all sorts of rumors about Metal Gear Solid, like made like either being made by Blue Point or like being this or that.
Yeah, it's
I
been
mean,
years of this.
this at the crux of these rumors and stuff, there is some smoke coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
But the most difficult part is just to maintain where exactly is the truth in all this matter. I mean, there could be one project that they've been working on. There could be multiple different projects they could be working on. It could be one company working on MGS3 remake and then another one working on the original Metal Gear Solid remake. I mean, at this point, at this point, there needs to be something that is talked about Metal Gear Solid. I want it to happen at Sony's next direct, but if I'm being perfectly honest with you, I don't even think they're going to go forth and do that. Because we not only having rumors about that, but we're also having rumors of a Bloodborne remake. It's
Yeah, I mean that's been going on for ever though
yeah,
too. So,
exactly the point, Tyler.
but
I mean, that's
some of
exactly
those
the
it's
point.
like that's the problem with some of these. Sometimes with like some of these rumors and like some of the stuff is like, are they rumors? Are they leaks? Are they just like and so many people are talking about them being like wanting them to be a thing?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like sometimes right. Like the you get like the what's the Mandela effect, you know, the Bernstein Bears or whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
Um, that's kind of like with internet rumors for video games. It's like, that's like Jeff Grubb or Jez Gordon or did Jason Schreier or did somebody else say that or is like was this just like shit on a Reddit post that kind of like picked up some little bit of wind of like people just like talking about shit they wanted and now it's kind of
Mm.
like in ether. But I will say the Konami PlayStation stuff has been out there for a long time.
Yeah, it has.
Um, Obviously like some of the stuff like Kojima working with them to make a Silent Hill. I don't believe that or
No.
working with them with Metal Gear in a way. Like, I don't believe that. Obviously, because he's making Death Stranding 2 and an Xbox game and a horror game. So he's
And
pretty
bridges are
busy.
burned between him and Konami. So
Yeah, like maybe you can like find a way to get like a third party in there to like, hey, maybe you can give them your blessing on this project for Metal Gear, like type of way. We'll give you a producer credit. Just give your blessing, and that's all we need from you. We'll here's some money, whatever for that. Um, yeah, like I have a prediction, Gables, for Blue Point,
yeah, what's that?
and it hurts me
What?
because I've talked about there's nothing I want more than Blue Point other than Kojima to make Metal Gear Solid 6 or finish Metal Gear Solid 5. Uh, there's nothing I want more though that's actually realistically could happen than Blue Point make the Metal Gear Solid remake, or better yet, a Metal Gear remake from NES.
Ha!
Um,
That'd be
that
interesting.
that's my ultimate goal for honestly remake the NES versions, but I don't think Blue Point's working on either of those. PlayStation said that they're working on original content,
Mm,
not original IP,
just original
original content.
content.
I don't think they're working on the next big remake. I
Yeah.
think maybe we see the Bloodborne like a boost thing, like a remaster PS5 update,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Finally get that 60 frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're making Bloodborne 2.
Hmm. Hmm. That's interesting. That's interesting. I was not made aware of the fact that they don't go and like do well the specific type of content that you were saying. Not original IP, but like established products
Well, they just said
established, right?
original content. They
Original content. Original
never
content.
said
Thank
if
you.
that's new IP or if they're working on an existing IP. That's all we got was original content.
Well, honestly, I mean, that is in the realm of possibility too. I mean, look at what Bluepoint has done with like other games and stuff, like Shadow of the Colossus.
Hmm.
You know, that was a
They made Demon
fantastic
Souls
job. And Demon Souls as well.
remake, but
Those
yeah,
two games are excellent when they first launched, but they were made exponentially better in terms of the remastering, in terms of like adding more to what made those games great to begin with, right? And so Bluepoint going and doing a Bloodborne remake in that kind of name,
well, I didn't say remake. I said maybe like a remaster sort of thing.
oh, that's true. That's true.
I'm saying Bloodborne 2, like a whole new thing.
That'd be interesting. Like I said, that would be interesting. I mean, they definitely have the credentials and they definitely have a good track record in getting these content stuff done. So,
Yeah,
who knows?
be interesting though. See, so a non From Software making a From Software game.
Oh
So
yeah, just seeing a lot of people just losing their shit that there's a Bloodborne too.
yeah, and not made by From Software. Yeah, maybe that's another thing where it's like PlayStation's like, hey, From Software, here's a few $1,000,000. Can you just say that you like helped work on it or you were in a meeting or something?
Oh,
I could see him doing that. Um, Also, this hasn't been rumored, and there's been a lot of rumors that this game will be announced in the next coming weeks, possibly this coming week. But there's been some ties that maybe it might show up at the PlayStation Showcase, mainly because WB and PlayStation have had a marketing agreement with like Gotham Knights and
mhm.
Hogwarts Legacy. So maybe Mortal Kombat, who's also owned by WBD, um, could be there as well.
Yep.
So there's been some teases lately. They did like a little teaser thing for the 30th anniversary.
Oh yeah.
At the end of like the video, there's like a grain of sand coming out of like like
Oh yeah.
the sand clock thing, and then there was a teaser last week of a clock ticking. Mortal Kombat 11 was the last one. The clock ticking gets to 11, kind of goes crazy, skips, goes to 1, and then we've seen some reports out there, some leaks that this will be a reboot. It'll be called Mortal Kombat 1, kind of like Battlefield 1, but Xbox One, Mortal Kombat 1. Be a reboot of the franchise, and will also DLC characters. They'll have a DLC pass, which no shock there. But Peacemaker and Homelander from The Boys will be a part of that. So
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. Like I really liked, I really like what they've done with the like Injustice 1 and 2 in the last few Mortal Kombat games.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that 11, I really liked 11 because the game was great to play. But yeah, like that was probably the worst of the three, story wise at least, because like, and obviously like the story in these games are not like amazing. I'm not gonna call
Well,
them like,
no, no. They're a standard type of like action game, like no, it's just
yeah,
action movie style of like plot.
yeah, and like 11 was just like really, it was just not good. It was not good. It really wasn't like my, the problem is like the kill off characters, but then they bring them back in like zombie form, and I don't know, like
Oh yeah,
it's so hard to like these type of games the way they're built. Like it's hard to like in a fighting game
it got too
to like kill
convoluted.
the yeah. Well, it's hard to kill off characters, but it's also like you want to like give yourself enough different characters to play as and also play against. Where you're not fighting the same ones over and over again. So you got to kind of bring up back old characters that you've already killed. So yeah, and they did the aftermath DLC. That was pretty good. They bring back Shang Tsung.
Shing
Song.
Sun, yeah.
Thank you. I can never say it. It's been like 30 years. I still can't say it right.
I think he
But
was like the main boss of like MK2. No, no, that's Shao Kahn. I think about
Shao
it.
Shao yeah, whatever. Anyways, the your soul is mine guy. I can't think of his name. Um,
Ah,
but he comes back in Mortal Kombat 11 aftermath DLC, and they kind of like set like the whole all of 11 is all about time travel, and
hmm,
they kind of set it up in aftermath that like they're kind of rebooting shit
yeah.
anyway, so it kind of was like, kind of naturally going that way, and it's probably the best thing they can do is it's like I don't know if it's gonna be a full blown reboot, but they're probably gonna find a way to like probably gonna tie in 11 without, because like Mortal Kombat 9 is also like a reboot, but it also
Yep.
ties in like with time traveling and going back to the original game. So it's not like full blown. It's like a soft reboot. It's a requel, really.
A
Um,
requel.
yeah,
Oh,
it's a sequel reboot thing.
that's
That's
good
kind of what it
thinking.
is. But yeah, I'm interested to see where they go from it. But yeah, like for me personally, like I'm not a huge fighting game fan. Like I actually prefer the Injustice games more than the Mortal Kombat games. So kind of bummed we're not getting Injustice 3. But I
Yeah.
get it. Mortal Kombat 11 is the best selling fighting game of all time, not named Smash Brothers. So yeah, I get why they're going to just going sticking with Mortal Kombat instead of the rotating they used to do. But
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, yeah. But I don't know. I'm more interested, I guess, in a reboot than I am Mortal Kombat 12. Uh, but Gables, let's get into some other news this week. Um, one second here. I am doing time codes before I forget. There we go. So Andy Robinson and a few other people have reported that the CMA will actually clear the Activision Microsoft deal on May 15th. Or
Hmm.
was it May 15th? It's next week sometime.
Next week,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, it might be May 15th. I can't remember now. But we should hear about that sometime in the next few days about them actually clearing that, and that should pretty much just come down to the FTC. I'm very
Hmm.
tired. It's one in the morning. I'm tired. Uh, but pretty much just comes down to the United States versus this deal at this point, and there's enough legislation against FCC that this deal will pretty much just go through. This is it's pretty much we've always known this deal is pretty much going to happen. Um, we just had a couple hurdles to go through, and yeah, so it's kind of where we're at. Like you said, I remember I sent this link to you like a few days ago, and like I'll believe it when I see it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I understand. I totally understand where you come from, but there's a lot of we talk about smoke. Um, there's a lot of smoke here, and yeah, a lot of people reporting this outside of the gaming sphere as well. So I feel like that's probably going to happen.
Yeah, it definitely looks like more or less that it's going to happen at this point. So it's going to be fascinating to read a bit or even like watch certain videos about this whole transaction thing going through, and seeing why initial things were okay and stuff for regulators for the UK and stuff. So,
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious what this guy actually mean for Game Pass.
mhm.
Because Microsoft had to make so many deals to make this thing happen. Because Call of Duty is a big one, but like, I mean, we know this isn't gonna happen day one, and like we know it took like over time, like over the course of like a year, before they finally added Bethesda
Mhm.
stuff to like all of the like they were adding them like on waves. So I'm curious what it's gonna mean though. Like when we can start seeing some of the like Crash Bandicoots, stuff like that. Like when we're gonna start seeing like all their other stuff eventually come over, um, Diablo games, shit like that. Like when we gonna start seeing all that stuff. So, um, next up here, Dead Rising might also
Mm.
be getting like, will there'll be some sort of sequel or at least or a
Mm.
reboot potentially announced sometime soon
Huh.
for them. So yeah, they'll be kind of in a weird place. Like I know people love Dead Rising 1. Uh, I didn't love it, but that just wasn't my type of game. Dead Rising 2 people still enjoy, but not as much as 1. 3 was like a weird offshoot. That was that weird Xbox One one where they tried to make it more realistic. And I know
Yeah.
Dead Rising 4 just kind of came out and didn't really seem people cared, but people like really, really love that game where they actually brought like Frank West from the first game.
Mhm.
Uh, and so it sounds like they're either like it could be a reboot or potentially remaking of Dead Rising 1. But yeah, we could be seeing that here soon. Nintendo Live has officially
Yeah.
been dated, and it sounds like the rumors are actually true here that it'll be taking place between the 1st and 4th of September,
Mm.
which is coincides with PAX Main. Um, and it sounds like I'm not sure of all the details, but basically like you can sign up to try to get tickets. Like basically it's like they have it's like a lottery system to get tickets to this thing. You can sign up with your Nintendo account, or if you buy PAX tickets, you get a chance that helps you as well get into this thing. But it's going to be taking place like I guess like a hall over from the PAX event. But they did also say there'll be like no new games revealed for this event. So
Oh, well. Yeah.
so maybe the not doesn't mean that nothing new. There won't be like a direct or anything new announced
Well, true.
between now and then, but don't expect any big news coming out of this. But like, they will be at the Gamescom thing, so maybe they'll have something there. I don't know.
Possibly.
Um, yeah,
Or like you were just stating, maybe something right before this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Because I think Gamescom is the week before this, so yeah, maybe I don't know, but maybe that's just kind of could be just more of the same. I don't know. I do think we'll have a direct though. Maybe not during Summer Game Fest time, but I do think we'll have something. Or at the very least, we'll like Jeff Grubb is like he's not rumoring this, but he's just talking about this. He actually talked about this in 2020, where he said that
Hmm.
there'll be no like they weren't gonna have a big direct in like in June that year, which they didn't have. Um,
Right.
then said they're just gonna announce stuff like on Twitter, and like that's kind of what they did. They're just like kind of like how like PlayStation does blog posts. They're like basically doing blog posts where there's announcing stuff on like on YouTube and Twitter. Like they announced the Paper Mario game. They announced Pikmin 3 Deluxe. They announced stuff like just like small updates here and there throughout the year. So
Yeah.
he's not saying this as a rumor. He's just saying like this is his prediction, which um, could be the case because like we've been talking about, we don't really know what they're doing, and we know they won't be at Summer Game Fest. So yeah. Um, but anyways, next up here, Horizon. Horizon Forbidden West, Zero Dawn, stuff like that. The franchise has sold 32.7 million units. Forbidden West has
Hmm.
sold over 8.4 million. And that's pretty impressive for only two like full games. And then there's like the Forbidden Call of the Mountain, which is probably maybe sold a couple 100,000 because the PSVR 2 has not sold great. So that means Zero Dawn has sold over 20 million copies. So pretty impressive.
Wow.
That's rare. We look at we always talk about those Nintendo sales figures, and I always talk about like we would do this for more companies if other companies were as open about their sales numbers as Nintendo was. So it's pretty cool to see stuff like that. Like 20 million copies is a lot. We can, like the Switch numbers, like that's like steroids for gaming sales. So, but kind of going back here in a sort of way for Nintendo, Game Freak has announced they're making a AAA game. They're partnering with Private
Hmm.
Division, who is an offshoot of Take Two Interactive. Um, it's kind of like the almost like a EA Originals type of thing, where they help people like help indie devs, smaller developers. They publish their games for them. They've done stuff like Ollie World, Hades, and a couple other stuff, a couple other games. But they're working with them to make a AAA samurai game. It's codenamed
Hmm.
Project Bloom, and it's scheduled to come out between April 2025 and March 2026.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
From what I watched in terms of like a video that was announcing that, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. They're gonna go for like a four way of like a samurai game. It's kind of like a Dark Souls esque, possibly type of a game
Yeah,
too.
we got like one like little like concept art screenshot. It's just like a samurai in the woods. Like, is it like a Monster Hunter game? It could be Ghost of Tsushima. It could be a map game. Could there's so many things it could be. But I'm excited for them. Maybe they'll finally learn how to make a 3D game. So um, this is how they get there. But yeah, like hey, good for them. Like like they've always talked about like that they always want to make stuff that's not Pokemon, and I'm happy for them because I can imagine we always hear about like developers like being forced to make fucking Call of Duty games over and over again. So
Yeah.
I can't, hey, good for them doing something different. But I'm curious how it's gonna work out because they are an extremely small studio. There's only like 150 employees working there. So um, when you hear about like a lot of other studios having three, four, five, six times that amount, that's pretty incredible for a company that pumps out games like they do. Um, but yeah, hopefully it works out for them. Some other stuff here. So Capcom had a record financial year. They sold 41.7 million units in the last fiscal year, which was almost 10 million units more than the previous year, which is also
Mm.
the previous record. They have set the record 6 straight years for games sold, and they are predicting they'll do it for a seventh straight year by selling 45 million units this current year that we're in. They did say that
Hmm.
Resident Evil 4 in only 1 week, because this is all of as of March 31st. That game came out March 24th. Sold 3.75 million units, and Monster Hunter Rise sold 5.45 million.
They
That
are killing it.
Yeah, that game was because that was a Switch game initially, but and last fiscal year it came to PC and then it also came to PlayStation and Xbox as well. So
Yep.
and that's included coming to Game Pass day one too. So pretty
Mm-hmm.
impressive there. Yeah. So they did state that they expect Street Fighter 6 and Exo Rival will be a big reason why they hit that 45 million mark. But I think they must have some other big stuff coming out, uh, or they feel confident some big stuff coming out. Because
Well, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how they're
Absolutely.
gonna get the 45 million. Like, I know Street Fighter 6 like sells extremely well. Like, their best-selling game of all time is I believe Resident Evil 7, and it's like set in the neighborhood of like 17 million units sold. So, even though Street Fighter 6 sells anywhere near there, you're still talking, in the mid-teens here. So, that's a third of the way there, I guess. But still, I don't know.
Hmm.
I
I
feel like
wonder though.
yeah, I feel like they're gonna have. They must have something else up their sleeve that we don't know about yet, to get to that mark.
It's definitely pointing to that foray is because Capcom, with their financials for all their games for the past few years, it's been banger after banger
Mm-hmm.
almost. They've been on point. They have learned from their mistakes during the whole like 2000s era and stuff, and now
Yeah,
from like the 2010s, like from the 2010s and the 2020s and stuff, they started gaining momentum, and now here we are within the 2020s, and they're piggybacking off the successes of games that sell like Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 7 and stuff, like Monster Hunter World and stuff, Monster Hunter Rise. Not on top and on top of that, it's like Street Fighter 6 is going to be one of their biggest launches this year for games. Not to mention, it's like this is their first real Street Fighter game to where there are going through and issuing that whole like $1 million like pot and stuff like that
yeah,
for first place winner and stuff. So that's going to be even putting more eyes on this game releasing because people want to get in and try to get a piece of that pie.
yeah. It's pretty incredible what the like you talk about like where they were coming out of like that 360 PS3 era, and where
Hmm.
they are now, just in the last decade. It's incredible how they've turned it around. So like when we doubt and we get worried about like Square Enix or Ubisoft or Activision, like we saw Ubisoft turn around in that PS3 360 era. They really turned around in that early PS4 Xbox One era, and then
Right.
now we've seen the last 5-6 years of them struggling. So it's not impossible for these companies to turn around, but yeah, it's incredible. Like no one has maybe done a better job, um, of getting their shit together. Maybe outside like obviously Nintendo going from Wii U to Switch, but they're definitely just a tier below that as far as just where they were a decade ago to where they are now. No one's done better than them. Um, Next up here, some disappointing news for my number one overall draft pick in our Fantasy Critic League. Silk Song Gables, Hollow Knight Silk
Hmm.
Song. Also, your second overall pick last year
Hmm.
was has been delayed. It was supposed to come out in the first half of this year. It has now been
Yes.
delayed. No, it was never had a date, but it was supposed to be the first half of this year. Um, Gables, I'm worried now. I'm officially worried.
Oh, I know, right? I know, right? And that's the thing about it. I mean, they have Team Cherry went out and officially delayed Silk Song, meaning that what Microsoft did go through and promise for their last major like press conference and stuff that they did have that had all that Game Pass stuff that be releasing in the span of a year, and that was one of the games that was cited upon there. I mean, basically that game is on its own release schedule at this point. It's not being tied down by anything, but they really meticulously want to make sure this game hits on all cylinders.
Yeah,
It's like, but whether or not when this game's going to release, oh boy. Oh boy, I mean, we've been wanting to see what this game has been for like the past 3 years, and it's usually delayed out and then a
yeah,
ways out and a ways out. If it's Oh, now there's the
people,
possibility where it could be early 2024.
yeah, people played this game at
Yes.
PAX 2019.
Yes, they did.
You can never trust like whenever an indie developer gives a date, you always got to delay it 2 years. This is wow, incredible. I mean, I'm not talking shit. Like I'm not even like a Hollow Knight fan. Um, but I'm not complaining. Like, obviously take your time, make sure the game's great. But like, man, I hope this game is as good as everybody hopes. So if
Exactly.
it's not, wow, it'd be like it'd be like what was the sports what was that Golf Story? That
Yeah.
early Switch game that everybody loved, and like after years and years and years of delays, finally put that sports story out at the
Hmm.
the Christmas Eve last year, and the game came out and it was just awful. I hope it's
Yeah,
not
pretty
that.
much killed it.
Yeah, the game. Yeah, and then the devs put a secret room in the game that the creator didn't know about the way they're being treated. So
Oh,
pretty
oh,
awful.
oh,
Yeah,
that's awful.
yeah. Um, but next up here, Devolver Digital did announce they're going to do an event in June. So I'm pretty excited for this. They always kill it. It's always super entertaining, and they usually have some pretty cool games coming out of it. So
Mm.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. And then last but not least, Gables. Well, maybe least. Call of Duty 2023, Gables. We did learn through some rumors that they will, after all, they're kind of like scrounging shit together. They were actually going to put out a game this year. Drumroll, please. It'll be called Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course, they they cannot even remotely try to hide their intentions with this stuff, which makes me kind of worry that you know they've spent this long just to go forth and announce that there is going to be a Call of Duty game. My worry is they're going to be shitting out a Call of Duty game
Yeah.
towards
Yeah.
the end of
No,
this year.
definitely sounds like it more so than any every other year ever. So, um,
Well, it's kind of interesting. That was actually sort of the thing, like with Modern Warfare 3 back then, when that released, that was less than what people felt that game was lesser than what Modern Warfare 2
oh
was
yeah,
when that
3 was not
released.
as nearly as good as 1 and 2. Yeah, it was definitely a massive disappointment, especially coming off Black Ops 2. So,
Yes.
or Black Ops 1, but Black Ops also, I should say, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. People love 2, overall. So maybe they'll won't this will be enough for them. Maybe they don't care, but yeah, I'm kind of curious what this turns out to be. I am
Yes, I
probably
am
the most
too.
interested I've been in a Call of Duty in a while, as far as like not from as like a buying circumstance, but like what is this game actually? Like how like what does it turn into? So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But Gables,
Mm,
I think that's gonna do it for us this week, guys.
all
Um,
right.
yeah, but we'll be back next week with way more, I'm sure, time spent in Tears of the Kingdom. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. I
Mm-hmm.
expect both of us lost our jobs because we couldn't stop playing this game. That's my prediction for this time next week. But if you guys like the show, please like, follow, subscribe. Um, there are links in the descriptions down below with Apple Podcast, Spotify, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all that. Please go to all our places. Like, follow, subscribe, hit that share button, tell your friends, send the links to them. All that. That really would really help us out. We appreciate it if you did that for us. But I've been your host, that was Tyler.
I've been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, play Tears of the Kingdom. Seriously, you gotta fucking play this game.
That was like Gable's Uncle Sam moment there. I want you, or like, what is that? Rocky 3.
Oh, I
I
can't.
want you, and I want you. Yeah. Anyways, love you guys. Bye.
See ya.